Let me paint a picture for you. You've just won your first ever game of Daybreak. Good on you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Whether you did it with friends or whether you did it alone, doesn't matter. You have overcome what many players have failed to do, and the game rewards you for it with prestige, a little bit of in-game currency that you can spend on whatever you want. Maybe a new gun, some bombs, a new place to sleep at night. So many options to choose from. And then you go and buy the Clio Relay for 4,000 prestige.
I feel physically sick, to be honest.
But it's not your fault. You didn't know any better. What was a good purchase and what was a bad purchase, the right and the wrong. But now you do. Well, after watching this video, the Prestige Shopper's Handbook, where we'll briefly talk about the things you should and shouldn't buy with your prestige and why that might be the case. Now obviously it goes without saying that you can do whatever you want with your prestige. I'm not stopping you, but if you're anything like me and don't know what to do with your currency sometimes, then this guide might just be for you. It'll probably be quite a brief video today, but let's just get right into it, starting with facilities. So here's the facilities you're going to want to prioritise getting. The Red Talon Officer Quarters, the Red Talon Workshop, and the Red Talon Watchtower. The Workshop is just a better level 3 workshop, and the Watchtower is just the best watchtower in the game, giving you 3 armed guards instead of 2, for only 1 ammo cost. You can also build these facilities faster and cheaper too. The Red Talon Officers Quarters is very unique and interesting. It's like a lounge with the fact that it offers 2 beds and some morale bonuses, but you can also carry out 3 facility tasks that increase the overall efficiency of your base and your survivors, so it's definitely worth it. I've already made a video comparing the lounge to the officer quarters, so if you want to see this facility in maximum detail, consider checking that out. The final facility item I would say is worth it is the Clio Support Transmitter. This is a facility mod that you can install anywhere in the base, and it provides the best sniper support in the game. It's fairly cheap to buy, and the facility mod itself costs a small amount of prestige to fire every time. It is the best sniper support in the game though, so you can understand why it's priced quite high. The facilities you do not want under any circumstances are the Clio Core, Red Talon Bunk Room, and the facility mod Red Talon Crafting Station. I've already made a video on the Clio Core, but all you need to know, really, is that it's far too expensive for what you get out of it. It's one of those facilities where you would need to invest hours of time to make your money back, which isn't worth it whatsoever. The bunk room sucks, because the only thing it offers is 5 beds, which are pretty useless, especially when you need to suffer from a morale penalty because the beds are too cramped together. Some facilities even offer more beds and give you a bonus to morale, so that's a no-brainer. The crafting station is terrible as well. With it, you're able to craft these high-tech bombs and traps. They're very good. Almost too good though, and they cost so damn much. They're just complete overkill for any difficulty. Seriously, no situation requires this level of firepower, except for Daybreak, which is where they should stay. Okay, so I did a bit further testing with the Red Talon crafting station, and I found out that you can make Clio ammo from it. So, does that make it worth it? Maybe. It is very expensive to craft still, but it is probably one of the best ways to obtain Clio ammo, so it's really up to you on whether or not it's worth getting the Red Talon crafting station. Now moving on to melee weapons, there's only a few I recommend you buy, and that's the Clio Hand Axe, Clio Warhammer and Clio Mace. The reason why is mostly because they're cheap, and they're also fairly light and easy to swing, with their stats being decent all round. There's a couple of weapons here that are kind of in a grey area in terms of value. We've got the RTX Extermination Blade and the RTX Crusher. These are some of the best weapons in the game, and I would recommend you get your hands on as many of these as you can, but these are cheaper elsewhere. You can buy them for influence from Red Talon wandering traders, or you can just find them on special missions. You don't need to spend prestige on them, but you can if you want. Moving on to the bad melee weapons though. We have the Clio Battle Axe, the Clio Longblade and the Clio Great Hammer. Yikes. 500 prestige for one melee weapon is a joke. You're telling me I have to fight off 2 or 3 terrifying waves of Daybreak just to get my hands on some mid-Clio weapon? No thanks. Doesn't matter if they're good. Some of them are quite good with their stats, but all 3 of these weapons are far too heavy, far too expensive and cost too much stamina to swing. They're just not practical. It's that simple. Moving on to ranged weapons, and it's the exact same deal here. There's some guns you definitely avoid, a few you could invest in, and some that are in between. Starting with the bad this time, and there's a lot of them. We've got the Clio Pistol and Machine Pistol, the Clio Blast Rifle, Battle Rifle and Sharpshooter Rifle, the Clio Shotgun and Assault Shotgun, as well as both gun attachments, the Clio Accelerator and the Clio Tumbler. There's no real specific hatred towards any of these guns, it's just that they're too expensive and there's much better alternatives for all these guns. For example, the Clio Battle Rifle has terrible range, and the Clio Sharpshooter Rifle tries to compensate for this by being a more advanced version of the Battle Rifle, with more range but less ammo capacity. But then if we take something like the Scar Assault Rifle, or better yet, the RTX Stormbringer, which I'll talk about soon, that gun has all 3 rates of fire, better range and a better capacity than both Clio guns put together. And you can get it without having to spend prestige. See what I mean? Much better alternatives. Let's talk about the gun attachments and why they're bad. The Clio Accelerator is basically an advanced brake, making the guns more powerful, do more damage. But instead of reducing your recoil, it makes your recoil worse. So why not just use a brake and save yourself some prestige? The Clio Tumbler turns all your bullets into scatter shots, doing area damage like a shotgun. But why would we want that? It takes the limbs off zombies easier, but we lose so much accuracy. Why not just use a shotgun and save yourself all that prestige? Now there are some guns that are, well, passable from this list. The Clio Heavy Sniper is a pretty good call. It is expensive, but it kills everything in one shot, including ferals of any type, but juggernauts in 4, like every other sniper. But what makes it better than every other sniper is that body shots will also instantly kill any zombie, even the armoured ones. Very nice. The Clio SMG is another one that you could maybe justify, but for different reasons. It's got a massive 128 round capacity, with one of, if not the fastest fire rate in the game. Now if you do buy it, and consider my advice here because it's very expensive to buy, do not use the gun. Now I know that sounds kind of counterintuitive. Don't use the gun you just worked so hard to get, but if you do decide to use it, you will absolutely burn through the ammo in it in about 3 seconds. And Clio ammo is scarce, especially if you don't have the Clio core. So I'd recommend buying some whenever you get the chance. But instead, you could equip your survivors with it, and since they don't use ammo, they can fire that gun like there's no tomorrow, which is perfect for defense. So, does that make it worth it? I don't know, maybe. It's up to you. Now, similar to the melee weapons, the ranged weapons also have some options that we could obtain elsewhere, either for free or for influence instead of prestige. These weapons are the RTX Stormbringer, as I've already said, the RTX Horde Breaker, and the RTX Wolverine, 2 rifles and a shotgun. These are all great guns, and if you don't have them or want a couple, maybe it's worth buying a couple. But they're in the grey area because you don't always have to spend prestige on them. Well worth it though. And then the last thing we need to talk about is the military or beyond military grade explosives, and this will be a very simple one. Do not buy a single one of these. They are not worth it. The only circumstance where buying a few of them might be reasonable is to kill playcards, but even still, there's much better and cheaper alternatives, like bashing them in with a sledgehammer, pipe bombs, fuel bombs, even shooting at it with range, with a high-powered brake. Plenty of better options. So, it's fair to say that there's some good options and a lot of bad options when it comes to spending your prestige. I guess the real take-home message will be that it's up to you what you spend it on, and what you like to spend it on. But if you learn anything from this video, it's that some things are more worth it than others, and it's up to you what those items are. But that'll be all for now. Once again, thanks for watching guys. If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like, or maybe even subscribing, so you don't miss the next one. And I'll see you in the next video.